Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to tell you about a Brazilian novel called Posthumous Memoirs of Brás Cubas by Joaquim Maria Machado de Assis. That's the last time I'm going to say the full name. Published about 140 years ago in 1880, it's narrated by a dead man. In this video I'm going to summarize it, tell you my thoughts, and some amazing quotes from this novel. This is one of the most original novels I have read. Watch to the end as I will tell you what this novel can teach you about life. Today I'm in Brazil. All Brazilians play football 5 times a day. It's like a religion. They practice samba after breakfast every day, and they hate Argentinians just after lunch. And they get naked in the afternoon and lie down on the beach. They get piranha fish delivered by Amazon for dinner and attend carnivals late at night. The country is very warm and the people extremely friendly. The president is like a character in a novel. You can never predict how it ends. Very spontaneous and with lots of turns and twists like a samba dancer. Okay, joking aside, how about literature? Someone suggested I should read Paulo Coelho. I read 2 of his novels. By some river, someone sat down and cried, and Santiago the shepherd and the chemistry teacher. But too religious for me, so not much to talk about really. Adriana from YouTube suggested this author's other book, Dom Casamuro, that's widely taught in Brazilian schools. It's about love and jealousy. For some reason it didn't pique my interest, but I was hooked to this other novel about the dead guy. It's like someone introduced you to a girl, you suddenly fall in love with her sister. This is a fantastic novel. First, let me tell you about the author. Machado de Assis, born in Rio in 1839 and died in 1908, was the grandson of ex-slaves. He grew up poor and never went to school. To compound that, he was short-sighted, epileptic, had stutter, and was very shy. But he taught himself several languages and read a lot of literature. He was a self-made man and now one of the most respected literary figures in Brazil and Portuguese language. Unfortunately, he's not very well known outside the country, and I first heard of him a few weeks ago. But his unique background allowed him the freedom not to follow the conventions of novel writing. He was a revolutionary. I'm so glad to have discovered him. Now, what is the novel about? I read it in one go. It's a short novel, only about 200 pages, set in 19th century Rio. The book is written by a dead man. It opens with a dedication to the worms who first chew on his dead body. So a dead man narrates his own story, his childhood, his death, and in between. The in-between part is mostly about his love affairs with a married woman and his ambition to be a politician, and his invention of a medicine to cure all sufferings, and his encounter with a homeless philosopher. At the end, all amounts to about nothing. He dies a mediocre man. Tolstoy or J.K. Rowling would have turned this story into, I don't know, 1 million volumes. Thank you, Machado de Assis, for being to the point and concise. Brás Cubas, the narrator and the protagonist of this novel, is very relaxed. Unlike Proust, who rushed to write his novel In Search of Lost Time before his death, Brás Cubas starts writing after his death. A brilliant invention if you think about it. We're always told to do this and that before you die. The internet is full of bullshit. 30, 50, 100 things to do before you die. Now you can relax and start achieving your goals after your death, like Brás Cubas. Now he's dead. He doesn't care what people think of him. He's naked. He's free to say whatever he wants. Later on in the novel, he introduces an old friend, Borba, who's gone through rough times in life and has become homeless. But he's also a philosopher, a modern version of Diogenes, the Greek philosopher who used to poop in the streets of Athens, as he cared not a dime what people thought of him. But there's one thing that worries Brás Cubas, an ironic twist, so to speak. He doesn't admit, but you know he's worried about because he constantly talks about it. If you think death liberates you from everything, you're wrong. There's a villain, not someone in the story though, not even the husband of the woman he screws, or his dead parents. His villain is actually you, the reader. He keeps mentioning the reader, how many of you are out there, if you're bored, or if you skipped a chapter, and blames you for all his problems. A very self-aware man, even in his own grave. I think at the time of writing, Machado de Assis was worried about his few but mostly elite readers who were very conservative Catholics. Having said that, he criticizes the readers for being too impatient and having short attention span. Damn, 140 years ago, people had the same problem as today. So, in this novel, you are a real villain. Isn't that amazing? Storytelling. I love the unconventional storytelling of this novel. The narrator is dead and he keeps talking about the reader. Chapters are pretty short and the narrator keeps interacting with you as a reader. It alludes to Tristram Shandy by Lawrence Stern, also very unconventional, full of digressions. Novels generally treat the reader as passive, but this novel talks to you as if you are a real person. But you are a real person. The fact that most novels treat readers as some invisible ghosts is beyond me. He even criticizes you for being too morally conservative, impatient, and fidgety. Talking about you, you know who you are. Anyway, I wish the narrator did something crazy. I don't know, rob a bank or even elope with the woman he loved. He did try though to elope, but he remained a mediocre. I guess once you're dead, you can't change your life. He dies a normal death. He lives a normal life. I guess that's the message. Most of us, I would say 99% of us, live a normal life and die a normal death. That's my story. But he could have added suspense by keeping the cause of his death a secret, but he didn't care. He tells you in the first few pages that he died of pneumonia. I guess he tried to cut the bullshit and tell you an honest story. He respects the reader. He's scared of the reader, but he doesn't really care about the reader. He says he's happy to have 7 readers or hundreds. He's a man of contradiction. I think we all are. Most days I like pizza, but then some days I can't stand it, especially Domino's. Here are some quotes I liked. I'm not exactly a writer who is dead, but a dead man who is a writer. Frankness is the prime virtue of a dead man. We kill time, time buries us. I'm either mistaken or I've written a useless chapter. Death doesn't age one. What is there between life and death? A short bridge. And his final message, I had no children. I haven't transmitted the legacy of our misery to any creature. Okay, to conclude, I really enjoyed the comedic tone of this novel. Very ironic, sarcastic, and doesn't give a shit. I think it might surprise a lot of people that this was written 140 years ago. You might be interested to know that Woody Allen is a big fan of this book. It seems too contemporary and postmodern. It criticizes humanitas or humanism that puts humans on a pedestal just for being human as something sacred. It gives you a new perspective in life, through the lens of death, of course. The Blind Owl by Sadiq Hidayat, which I talked in an earlier video, also deals with this issue but goes a bit deeper and darker. Brás Cubas, the narrator of this story, didn't find anything he wished for in life, but found a little truth about it after his death. What is that truth? Don't take life too seriously. Live an erratic, spontaneous, digressive, and a flowing life. In the same manner, this novel is written. I guess if there is a message in this book, it is this. You shouldn't care what others think of you. Life is so short that worrying about other people's opinions of you is not even worth it. Before I die a mediocre death, I want to read books and stories from every country on earth. If you want to tag along, I don't mean death, I mean on this journey to read, please subscribe, share, and comment. It really does help the channel and gives me a bit more energy to make more videos. You don't know how much it means when I see one more subscriber or a comment, good or bad. For Brás Cubas, it was the reader. For me, it's you people of the internet. I worry about you all the time. Thank you and happy reading.